The man rolled his eyes back, stuck out his tongue, and pretended to be dead. But his exaggerated act didn't fool the Soviet soldiers. Instead, it made them laugh and attracted even more attention. They surrounded him, laughing loudly. One Soviet soldier even started unbuckling his belt. Soon after, he was taken as a prisoner and forced to become a human mine detector. The Soviets had a special unit made up of captured soldiers whose job was to walk through minefields. A Soviet soldier tossed a helmet forward, it was instantly blown to pieces. Then, it was his turn to enter the danger zone. With guns aimed at him from behind, he had no choice but to step forward, trembling. The man was a Hungarian soldier who had fought alongside the Germans against the Soviets for more than 2 years. He had finally earned a break. But for some unknown reason, his newlywed wife, whom he hadn't seen in a year, had failed to submit the paperwork needed for his leave. Without it, he couldn't board the train home. Left with no other option, he picked up his weapon again and returned to the battlefield. Noticing his disappointment, a fellow soldier tried to cheer him up by showing him a picture of a woman. The man shook his head, took out a photo of his wife, and signaled that he didn't need another. His comrade didn't give up. He placed both pictures together, making the man laugh out loud. At that moment, the Soviets launched a sudden attack. Everyone instinctively poked their heads out to check. The next second, a sniper's bullet struck his comrade dead. The man turned back to look but didn't hesitate. He immediately charged forward. Death was an everyday occurrence on the battlefield. The battle was fierce. With tank support, the Germans quickly advanced on the Soviet positions. The man led the charge at the front. But suddenly, a shell exploded nearby. The shockwave and flying debris knocked him unconscious. He had no idea how much time had passed. A corpse tumbled down beside him, jolting him awake. He turned his head and saw a group of Soviet soldiers approaching. With no other choice, he quickly lay back down, pretending to be dead again. But his acting was terrible. The Soviets saw right through it and took him prisoner. Now, he was forced to clear mines. Fortunately, he got lucky. He didn't step on one this time. At night, as he dug trenches, he listened to the older prisoners, learning how to identify mines. In summer, the ground around the mines would freeze, and only small patches of weeds would grow nearby. Using the veteran's knowledge, he managed to survive each mine-clearing mission. But most others weren't so lucky. One by one, they died around him. As he watched his fellow prisoners perish, he grew tired of this life. One night, while the Soviets were drinking, singing, and dancing, he decided it was time to escape. He pulled off a wooden plank, tied a rope to it, and threw it forward, hoping it would hook onto something. Unfortunately, it latched onto the chair of a Soviet officer. When the officer stood up, he lost his balance and fell flat on the ground.